Since everyone's so anxious to get started, being 7 o'clock, will you all join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Then would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Grover?
Here.
Mrs. Sullivan? Here. Mr. Hopansky?
Here.
Mrs. Vanderwater?
Here.
Ms. Lefniak? Mr. Tupper?
Here.
Mr. Zachariah?
Here. All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in agreement?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Citizens' comments.
Hello.
Seeing none, we will continue.
Popular today.
Agenda item number 1, approve annual maintenance of General Code 360 for $1,195. It's keeping online code up to date for the town clerk's office. This is a budget item.
I make a motion, we approve that, and just reiterate that it is in the budget.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, renew software maintenance agreement with Edmunds GovTech, also for the clerk, for $1,979.15. This is also a budgeted item. Could I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And all in agreement?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 3, approve trash hauler license for Chuckett Haulers.
I make a motion, we approve.
This is formerly Fair, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kill the younger generation.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 4 is approve a lease agreement for copiers at Town Hall and Parks Office. I'll have in front of you the schedules for the proposed company. We have 3 quotes. The best value quote is Electronic Business Products at $53.67 for the park office and $149.96 per month for the town office. Any discussion? May I have a motion?
Make the
Moved.
motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to item number 5, approve Lauren Comey a seasonal recreation aide at the rate of $16 per hour.
I make a motion, we approve the additional seasonal rec aid at $16 an hour. Do you know what that date is? Let me just look at that. Effective. She doesn't have an effective date.
She may have started on the 15th when she sent it to us.
That's my understanding. There was one that we approved at the last meeting that didn't take the job.
Right.
So I'm assuming this is the
The
fill-in, the
replacement.
replacement for that one.
All right. I'll just leave the motion as is.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Item number 6, consider a change in schedule for fees for the codes office. Schedule was changed in April to have building fees based on construction costs rather than square footage. Some fees were meant to be flat fees, but were not indicated that way. Clerk's office and codes have come up with a simplified schedule. It would also be able to be programmed into the new CivicGov software that we recently approved for the codes officer. Does anyone have any questions regarding this change?
No, I think, I'm glad we're bringing these into alignment with the other towns.
So obviously, we worked extensively on this. I guess if you could just help me understand, just so I can wrap my head around it. So the first one, the residential structures, there's an application fee for $35. And then beyond that, it's 25 cents per square foot based on the square footage of the home. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So where did we come up with the first 1,000 and then plus 5 for every 1,000?
I'm not sure where that came from. I believe Mary Francis, the previous supervisor, is what came up with that schedule of fee when we sat down with Pete Mitchell. It's something that they were using there. The problem with it is what I was finding is there was too much of a discrepancy, even just per cost of construction material. Some of the things that we were seeing is, somebody coming in for something as simple as a 12 by 12 deck from one application to the next. The pricings were off. I was forced to use what I thought was approved for cost of construction costs per square footage. That apparently, from what was handed to me, was not approved by the board, but that was something the previous supervisor had come up with herself. When we started seeing a major discrepancy that wasn't going to be able to reconcile with any sort of logical explanation that would fit an auditor, and not wind myself and maybe the clerk's office up in a pickle, we decided that it'd probably be a better idea just to go back to the square footage. It's one thing that can be programmed to the software, and there's no room for anyone to, from one application to the next, it will be transparent and it'll be consistent.
Okay, so when we went through this, we shifted from square footage to a dollar value, right? So now you want to go back to the square footage?
Correct.
Okay.
And just being frank and open and transparent, when I initially had that conversation with the previous town supervisor, the influence and what was told to me was this is the way it is going to be. When I sat in the meeting with myself, you, and Darcy, I was operating off sort of a directive from the supervisor to make sure this happened. I had said that I was very young. And
We don't work like that here.
I understand that now. However, when I was new in this position, I still am pretty green, but I've got my feet wet. I understand my role in conjunction with the town supervisor's role and the advocacy I have with the position that I'm now sitting in. I answered your question a little bit more clearly. I'm sorry, Ms. Vanderwater, for disappointing you.
I am disappointed.
I will say now that I have a much better and a clear understanding of my position, and I have a much better working relationship with the current town supervisor that I'm hoping extends into next year as well.
As well as the board.
As well as the board as well, so.
He's got to work on his relationship with the attorney.
Alternative facts. This is being put out.
Cookies would be good, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'd go for the
Still-
line. but-
Chris, just so I'm clear, so if we have a house that is equivalent in square foot, but it uses much more expensive materials, or go back to your deck example, a 12 by 12 deck, one uses just plain old pressure treated wood, the other one uses laminate wood or something like that, the permit fees would be the same cost.
Correct. And that was what we wanted. Well, for one, the software it's a very programmable system. There's no discrepancy in that. It's A plus B equals C. And again, we were seeing massive differences. Some would be, $100, other ones would be $35. And that just, for no rhyme or reason other than us trusting what they had placed on their application. And that was the concern that I brought up in the meeting that I had with Pete Mitchell and Mayor Francis as well. We're basically just taking their advice and working for it.
Right, we talked about
And we
that.
did
Like
talk
if
about
someone's
that.
gonna say, oh, no, my house is only worth 100,000, when it's actually a 300,000,
Correct.
and they're paying a permit fee on the 100,000, and we're taking their word for it, how do we know what the real value is? But isn't Lysander doing the square footage, or did
Not
they
for-
switch to
We
the,
switched to a
the dollar value. So I thought we were trying
For
to,
commercial, they're using it, that per $1,000 value. For residential, if I understand it, they're not. But they're also not using software either. And they don't have nearly as much new construction as we do. In reference to new permits, I issued 15 new houses or townhouses just this week, where they will see maybe 5 in a given year. So
okay, so I'm gonna rely on you that this is the better way to go since this is your wheelhouse. My only question is, you crossed off remodeling, attached garage, and decks. Are those 3 things going to fall under a residential structure
Correct.
base? Okay,
we are looking at trying to streamline, if you are in here for a permit for a build of any kind on a residential structure, that's what you're paying outside of it. And we streamlined the shed issue as well. If it's under 144 square feet, you don't need to do any foundation work on it. You don't pay an application fee. If it's over, you do, and then if it's at 240, it falls under your residential structures as well.
and you feel the 25 cents per square foot is,
When we did the calculation, if it's an honest cost versus an honest, square footage, it's the price difference is minimal. We were seeing $5 or $6 for an application.
okay.
This would simplify things, allow residents to be able to calculate this.
Yeah.
And you're gonna make sure that this updated one gets on the website?
The schedule of fee is going to go, we're within 2 weeks of a beta software attachment onto our software with the new, onto our website, the new software system. So yeah, once this gets approved, it'll go up on the website, but then that calculation is even taken out of the resident's hand as well. They just put in the square footage with our software as they apply for an application, and the system does the computing of what their application is going to be as well.
Oh, nice.
Okay. But is this, I mean, I understand that your program is gonna give them, a program to pop their info in and print out or kick out what the total fee is, but are you listing the schedule of fees on the website
You're
as
talking
well?
about after the software gets updated or implemented, is that what you're asking?
No, I'm asking if this gets approved tonight,
Yes.
are you updating our website with a new schedule of fees? Because this is on our website.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wondered. Okay, thank you so much. If no one had any questions, I'll make the motion to accept the schedule of fees as amended.
Does anyone have any other questions for Chris?
No? Wendy covered mine.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. The penciled in number 7, I'm sorry, the penciled in number 8 now. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we're 7. Also for codes, it is the approve the billing software for codes, authorizing supervisor to sign a contract for the billing software at $5 per month for Forte billing software. This would be compatible with your new online system. Anyone have any questions about this? Can I get a motion?
Make that motion.
Or second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Pencil in number 9, approve our voucher. I'm sorry, did I miss 8 again?
Yes.
Pencil in number 8, there's so many pencils.
So many numbers involved here.
We're gonna have highway expenditures. So this is a section 284 agreement for the expenditures of highway monies for the highway superintendent. The first one is for 1.25 miles on Idlewood Boulevard, Delwood to Route 48, Mid-Iron Court, Sand Iron Court, Idlewood Extension, Idlewood Court, and Lanyard Lane. The amount of $265,940, and 0.35 miles on Connors Road between East and West Sorrel Hill, a total of $36,960. And the second, Whiskey Hollow Road, just at the top of the first hill, which is a couple hundred feet, for $24,600. And Van Ness Thomas Circle North Brickyard, South End, Cape Seal, is that Cape Seal?
Yes.
Van Ness, Ellsworth, Comstock, Hunter, Overlook, Crook, and Kriego for $128,078.92. These are all in the budget as well, right, Doug?
Yes, sir.
Can I have a motion
I'll move it.
and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Penciled in number 9 to approve vouchers, 230-694, 230-695, 230-697, 230-698, 230-703, 230-720, and 230-761, the total amount of $114,802.09. These are our expenses for the town, regular, normal expenses.
I make a motion, we approve those vouchers.
Second.
Did I get a second?
Second.
Yep, Bob did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the last is, do we want to wait?
Up to you.
I'll let you explain.
Okay.
So penciled in number 10 for an authorization agreement.
So the town of Van Buren has been approached by Eastern Gas Transmission and Storage Incorporated. They are a Delaware corporation who have a pipe that runs along the Erie Canal on property owned by the town. It goes through the town of Van Buren and into the town of Camillus. They have approached the town requesting access on a temporary basis to perform pipeline repairs and related mitigation. The access, the town of Camillus has authorized this. They're not requiring an agreement. The town of Van Buren, however, what's before you is an agreement to give them the temporary right and authority to have access to do the repairs and mitigation. It's non-exclusive, so the access to the property must remain to the public and other users while they are doing this work. Permission to access the property and complete the project as proposed expires on July 31st of 2023. And then there's the language of indemnification, hold harmless, and release. Attached to the agreement is a document, for lack of a better word, that's been prepared, and it shows the 15-foot wide canal access to be used for site access. If the town board is agreeable, the resolution this evening would be to approve the town entering into this agreement with Eastern Gas Transmission and Storage, Inc., and authorize the supervisor's execution of the agreement.
Any discussion? And so can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to approve this agreement?
I'll make
I'll give that motion.
I'll second.
Take it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I don't have anything else under
Thank you, Neely.
attorney comments.
Council committee reports and comments. Howard?
I'll leave that up to Jenny.
Hey, Jenny.
We had a visitation, both of us, on the Erie Canal on Monday morning, and it was very productive. It was very interesting, and we met a lot of very fine people. It was in high use, a lot of bicycles there. I'm not going to leave it up to you after all.
That's okay.
And a couple from Canada was biking through from Buffalo to Auburn.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
No horses, though. Didn't see a single horse.
We'll see the horses on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, Jenny?
So Councilor Tupper and I not only went to Erie Canal, but we also went and visited Van Buren Park. We saw the progress on the pavilion, which is coming along nicely, and we also, it was beautiful. The park was very immaculate when we went and did our visit on Monday. And that's really the only thing I have.
The only thing I'll add is that the pool at Van Buren Park is open. I just want to make sure the residents are aware that it was announced. I know through the webpage and on various Facebook groups. I'm not sure how it was used, but it is open.
Excellent. Yeah. Wendy?
I'd like to schedule 2 work sessions for the Comprehensive Land Use Committee, specifically for solar, July 11th and July 19th at 5 p.m. each. And town clerk circulated this correspondent from town of Huntington regarding voter identification resolution. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to review it, but I wholeheartedly agree with this, and I would like to request that our town attorney draft a resolution similar to this, urging the New York State Legislature and Governor Hochul to draft and enact legislation regarding a voter's identification process.
That's not in these materials, right? Okay.
Should be.
It should be, it was in mine.
If it's not, Nadine, I'll get it to you.
And that's all I have.
So, Bob?
Nothing for tonight.
And I have just one comment, a little premature, but I did meet with Okra this past week, and blue bins will be phased out over the next 12 to 18 months. We're going to come up with a resolution in the next several months to address that. And that's all I have. Doug?
Nothing this evening.
Jason?
The pavilion floor was poured today, so once that's done, we can get the actual rooms in there, get the septic hooked up, and get the pavilion up for use. And Verizon did their work on Connors. Now we're fighting to get our guide rail contractor back during the busy season to do his 4 hours of work and get this road open.
Is the road still closed?
It's still closed. So, but Doug talked to the contractor today. He was supposed to give him an update by now. But
As of this afternoon, tentatively, they're hoping for tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Friday. However, we are pulling the contractor, they're pulling from another job to finish this one, but they're trying their darndest to get it done, so that hopefully we can open it for the weekend.
they want to get paid.
That's right. Don't pay them until they finish.
Yep.
That'll get them.
And Jason, with the pavilion, we have a deadline for our grant coming up. Will we meet that deadline?
And I'm not sure it's a hard deadline. It was on Mary Francis's spreadsheet. But this is something that funding came through probably 6 years ago, and we never got authorization to spend it until last year. So hopefully we can wrap this up quick and get the paperwork submitted.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Nadine?
I've got nothing else.
Lynn? All right. Seeing as there's no other business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn until July 5th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yep.